everybody. In a business. I'm Emily King.
Richie King here.
And we're with Harrison King, who's the producer. And we're here today with Five Boys in a Business. Thanks for joining us. We got a lot of fun things to talk about.
A lot of fun things.
Follow us on any of your
Instagram,
podcast channels.
iTunes,
Spotify.
Google Play. What is it, Harrison? Google what?
Google Podcasts. So yeah.
All the cool ones.
All the cool things. So we have some
YouTube as well.
YouTube, Facebook. You can watch the video cast on Facebook.
If you're watching now.
And YouTube. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. You know, I wasn't supposed to be here today. I was supposed to be in Florida.
It's supposed to be a solo cast between Harry and I. But
I was supposed to. I was supposed to be actually at this moment in time. I probably would have been on the beach.
On the beach, toes in the sand.
Yep. And so now,
not so much. Toes in your kids and here on the podcast.
And I'm here on the podcast instead.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Trip had to be canceled, and I must say that Southwest makes it super easy.
Yeah, hats off to Southwest again. They are the
like 3
Chick-fil-A
seconds
of airlines.
It was so easy. It was the easiest thing to do.
I agree. It was just a couple keystrokes and clicks, and you're done. They put your funds that you spent into an account and to be used later.
You know, and I couldn't go because my older sister had asthma. That's who I was going with. We were going to sit on the beach together and watch movies together and drink some together. Just some drinking.
Just some.
Yeah.
Just a little.
And she couldn't go because her asthma was really acting up and she was too nervous to get on an airplane. And then she was worried, well, if we got there, they have the red tide. So if we got there, then she was worried about inhaling, I guess, things from the red tide.
Right.
Those with asthma would understand.
Right.
I do not, so I don't understand. But that's horrible if you can't breathe. So we decided to postpone it, move it to a different time.
But you're here with us now, so there's that.
It's so joyous.
Oh, you look so joyful.
I'm with
Captain Deadpan over here.
I am very happy. Actually, I'm just going to do some other things instead.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
So I'm going to go to Tennessee and visit Tennessee for a couple of days.
I think you should.
Harrison's going to hold down the house.
Yep.
And so tell everybody about some things that happened this weekend. We had some exciting news.
Gosh, not a whole lot. You know, it's interesting. We ended up getting in the car and driving due west for about 4 hours because Harry now is no longer a boyfriend. Harry has a new designation, fiance.
He's a
He
fiance.
is engaged to his other fiance, Madeline.
Where does that word fiance come from anyway? It's interesting. Don't know.
It's French for watch out.
Buyer beware.
Right.
And so, yes, we got to welcome Madeline to our family.
So, yeah.
And
got to spend some quality time with her family.
Yep.
Her parents and brother and sister, super nice. Had a blast with them.
Drug all the kids down there.
Yeah.
It was a surprise. Madeline didn't know.
Did not know. I was spent about 45 minutes on a concrete picnic table.
Freezing.
Very chilly.
Cold. It was
very chilly
cold.
with a hoodie on. I'm sure arousing a few eyebrows there as to what exactly I was doing with the black
hoodie,
hoodie on and a black satchel in front of me with a camera. As I filmed the proposal incognito.
That was good though. You got the whole thing.
I sure did.
Which was really.
It was interesting though because you weren't down there, but I was supposed to be at a picnic table considerably closer to where the event took place, where the proposal took place. But when I get there, these 3 dudes are over there jamming out. One dude on a bongo and 2 guys on a guitar, and so I had to sit at a table a bit away from them, but still got pretty good shot. Got everything on. I've got 2 shots, one on my iPhone and one on the DSLR. So it went great. In fact, the guys, the band, they were walking over. The guys, they congratulated Harrison and Madeline, and they said, "Oh, you made our day." And then one guy goes, "You want to hire us?"
Oh gosh.
So it was good. It was a very memorable moment for us all. So it was good.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's really hard to believe that you have somebody old enough in our family to get married.
I know, right? Boy, oh.
But that's the case.
It is the case now. It's a new phase in our lives.
It was so cute because we don't have any girls in our family, clearly, because it's 5 boys. And so Calvin could not wrap his brain around. First of all, I thought for sure someone was going to spill the beans over the past however long we've known this was going to happen. Like, one of the boys, somebody was going to spill the beans. I think the only thing that saved us was Madeline didn't come in for her typical fall trip, which would have been in October.
We talked about that. He
And
said,
thank goodness she didn't come in, because I don't know how we would have all kept it under wraps.
it was funny because she was talking about that at the park the day after, that day that he did it. And she said, yeah, I kept saying, why don't you want me to come up? He goes, no, I'll come there. And she goes, all right. Okay.
Yeah, it was. So everybody did it. And Calvin was so excited. He now is going to have a sister. He said he's going to have a sister now. Once they get married, he's going to have a sister.
There you go.
So, yeah, that was just super exciting. And like you said, Madeline's siblings are terrific. Her parents are terrific.
So, yeah.
So
could not ask for better.
So show everybody. So our picture of the week is the picture of Harrison.
Okay, let me give you a little bit of backstory with this. When we started the clinic, we were looking for shots for promo materials because we didn't want to use stock shots. We wanted to make it, personalized. So being that we didn't know what we were doing back then, and just were taking pictures of things we could use on the brochure and other things. So this first picture is what is still on our current brochure and letterhead, I think, right?
Yes.
And I think business cards. It's more of a shadow, but this was the picture of Harrison and our thin dog Bean.
2003.
Yeah, 2003-ish. And this is Harrison. Oops. I'm going to do this.
Here, I'll do the other one.
Yeah, you do that
Here,
one.
let me do this one.
That's that one. And that's Harrison now.
Isn't that so cute?
So,
Oh, my gosh.
little Harry and big Harry.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, I remember taking these photos.
In the backyard.
It was in the backyard of
Next
our
to
house.
the playset.
Next to the
Edinburgh house, yeah.
Yep. And, we said, guess what, Harrison? It's time to pose for some pictures.
I keep waiting for someone to come back for royalties at some point and say, hey, 16 years, use my image.
And so, 16 years.
Yeah.
So he was just 6 when we took those pictures, 5 or 6 when we
Yeah.
took those pictures. And
barely 6.
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
oh, there are some pictures from the engagement.
Oh, and real quick,
Look how good he is.
And kind of to give some backstory, the reason we have these shots, these close-up shots, is that Madeline's sister, Kirsten, was actually the guise upon which kind of to get them down to the water, get Madeline down to the water, was to take her senior pictures, because apparently she had some taken by a photographer that didn't turn out well, so she wanted them retaken.
Right.
So Kirsten already had the camera down, and they were on the river, and that's when Harrison stopped and went into what he was going to say. But it was neat because she was there with the camera snapping shots as it unfolded. So it went great. Couldn't be better.
Harrison, were you happy with the whole experience? Harrison Branch.
Yes, I was happy. Yeah. Sorry, it's really weird hearing myself on the mic.
Oh yeah, so Harrison, due to Granddad, is because Granddad says that he can't.
I can't hear you.
I can't hear Harrison. I can't hear him. It's just I'm listening and I can't hear him. And so Granddad was on last week, and then we said, okay, you know what, put headphones on, and then you can hear everybody, so you know what you sound like, so you can turn yourself up.
Right.
So anyway, so now Harrison's like, I can't hear you guys talking though, and I hear myself, so it's kind of weird, I'm sure. So was it everything you wanted it to be?
Yes, I would say it was. I was very nervous. I've had this plan probably since around August time, probably since the end of July. So I had the ring bought by the middle of August. Went up to her parents' house, asked for their blessing, and it was supposed to happen actually 2 weeks ago, but then Holden semi-state.
Damn, Holden, he actually made it to semi-state.
Yeah, Holden semi-state cross-country
really
meet got in the way, so
Thanks,
I ended
Holden.
up doing it this past weekend, and it was very good. She had no idea it was happening. She was completely caught off guard. I played it very well for a person who can't keep secrets and cannot lie. So
you really can't keep secrets.
It was good. My heart was going to explode over the weekend before then, so I'm glad that everything went very well.
He said something. He goes, now I can move on to other stuff.
Yeah.
Get it off your
It
mind.
is a lot to keep a secret.
Oh, sure.
Especially
yeah.
when you're a person who, I agree, Harrison is not somebody who can lie or keep a secret.
Right.
Yeah, he's really bad at it, actually.
That's good.
So,
That's a
ever
good
since
thing.
he was little, it's a good
That's
trait
good.
to have.
Yeah, good
but,
trait to have.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Now on to buying a house.
now on to
There you go.
You're such an old soul. Oh gosh. So yeah, that was our big news, our big exciting news. We're adding to our family. So there you go.
That's good.
I couldn't be happier.
Neither can I.
Now we get into all the fun stuff of waiting for the wedding.
And just I'd be remiss if I didn't mention where it took place in St. Charles, Missouri, on the river. As the picture you could tell, very historic area.
Yeah.
Historic area down there. We had dinner
Lewis and
afterward.
Clark.
What was the name of the place we ate at?
Tony's.
Man, the
That
best.
was good. It was
the
super good.
best
Yeah,
chicken
Alfredo.
parm I've ever, or
No,
chicken Alfredo I've ever
Yeah,
had.
It was really good.
The best. I wish I could have eaten more, but it was just such a huge portion. But
It
gosh,
was great.
fantastic.
It was very good food.
It's black and chicken, yeah.
Yeah,
Couldn't have been better. The apps were great. It was in a very old building, you could tell. It was cool.
For those who live here in Carmel and in the surrounding areas, Main Street is like an older clay terrace, just a strip of older shops.
Yeah.
Like a way older
Way older.
terrace by a couple hundred years.
Yeah, it's like a narrow street that has a bunch of
Cobblestone
shops
streets, too.
and restaurants on it. It's a neat atmosphere. You can see how
Yeah.
they can make that into quite a fun place to be.
And it was neat, too, because you could see, I mean, the buildings are very historic and very old, and you could see, I mean, they look old.
Right, because that's where Lewis and Clark, like that was their, is that?
Yeah, St. Charles came before St. Louis, right?
I think so.
I would assume so.
8th grade social studies.
All right, you know that. Missed it. Sorry.
Was that one of the days you were playing hooky?
Sure was. One of many.
Oh, gosh. That's funny.
Well, there was a building we walked by, and it said the state's first capital. It's the first Capitol building. There was a little historic building. So I wonder if that was the first state capitol before. I'm assuming St. Louis is the state capital, right? Or am I totally off on that too? Okay.
Yeah.
So, God, can I hear myself? When we went up there, so this weekend, me and my dad went up there on Friday to scout out the area where I was going to do it on Main Street. And Dad was being so funny.
What?
Because he was like, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it right here. I think Kirsten, you being right here is pretty solid. And Dad was just like, I don't know. I think you should I don't know. It doesn't sound good. What about over here? And I was like, Dad, I think it's
I was
good
thinking
right
about
here.
framing the
And then you
shot.
were like,
you
I don't know. What about this table?
no, but
I was
back
like,
up. You guys were saying I want to do it in the pavilion. I said that's awesome, but I have to be able to get close enough to get a shot. And you said, well, just sit here with your legs dangling over. I'm like, okay, that's not gonna that's not gonna work.
She had no idea you were even there. She was not looking at you.
She
at
wasn't
all.
really. I mean, it was a big
No,
enough
yeah,
space
of
that I
course.
think you could have pulled it. Like, I didn't realize it was going to be that big of an area.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
get
mean?
that.
Where she could.
And it was so dumb because they were walking down because I thought two people were coming that weren't them. And then when Kirsten was there by herself waiting on them, must have been texting them. I know they're coming soon. But
Right.
I thought before he was just going to walk down. And I saw a young couple walking, and I got everything ready, and then it wasn't them.
Right.
So, but then when I saw Kirsten, I knew that it was about to happen. So, it was a large enough park, beautiful park, by the way, right on the river. Really neat place. So, hats off to you, Harry, for
Yeah, congratulations to both of
good
you.
job for that.
Very impressed with your, just your
Planning.
Yeah,
and
planning and your awareness of.
what should happen.
Yeah. And then taking the time to
Adhering to
plan it
social
out
norms.
and do it. And yeah.
I know, right? No, I'm being serious.
Oh, okay, I was like, you were saying that like you were going to lead to a joke or something.
Well, yeah, okay.
So, no, I agree. I mean, it's fascinating, but they had a good person to learn from, which is you.
Not really.
Because
Anyway.
you teach them very well. You do a good job of teaching them how to
Oh, that
treat-
part. Right, of course, yes.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of proposals, Dad, do you want to tell us about yours?
Mine was, okay, I rented this huge estate in North Carolina in the mountains. Actually, what had happened was, true story, we had been looking at West Town Mall and had been looking at rings. And, it's funny how events are burned in your brain. I remember we were walking through the mall and we went to this one store where I ended up not buying her ring from. And a lady comes out and she had food on her shirt. I was like, definitely not buying from you, but thanks. So we ended up going to this place called Carlisle and Company, which is, I think, now a defunct jewelry chain out of North Carolina. But we were in Knoxville at the time, Tennessee, and bought her ring. And because she was in vet school at the time and obviously going to be a veterinarian, she wanted a certain type of ring called a channel set stone. So we chose that, and then things may get a bit foggy, but I remember buying it. I didn't have any money back then. I was still a student, and so I had to borrow $500 from my dad, and I put some money. I paid more than $500 for the ring, mind you, but I didn't have quite enough, so I had to borrow some cash from my dad. I went and bought it. I was going to do it at dinner one night, and then I just couldn't, like Harrison, I mean, I wasn't good at just waiting to do it. So we were at my apartment, and I just did it at my apartment. So, and then your mother, and then she made some phone calls. She was so happy, and so, yeah, and that was it. That was, then we got married. That was in March of 95. Yeah, 5. We got married in December of 95, and then the rest is history. So
the rest is history.
The best things I ever did. One of the best things I've ever
You're
done.
very nice.
That ring has held up nicely over 26 years, thank
There you
God.
go.
A bit small for you.
Speaking of rings, Mom, do you ever get yours cleaned?
I used to all the time.
You're supposed to go get it cleaned. I mean, yeah, it does make it look way better when you get it cleaned. You can get these cleaners, like put in alcohol and it agitates it.
Yeah,
But
Does
But rings
Madeline-
nowadays, it's so funny how rings are so different because that was a fairly atypical. What I got you, that style, because it used to be solitaires. I mean, people had different styles of cuts of diamonds, but they were mostly solitaires.
Right.
But that was pretty different. And nowadays, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, a lot of times girls just have just straight bands.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really have any, true wedding rings anymore, or like engagement rings, I should say, like that. So either way, the thing that really matters is the union and the joy that you bring to one another and everything that entails, because that's it.
Well, like Grandma and Granddad said, it goes by really fast.
Gosh, it does. It goes by very. I
So-
thought about that this weekend and how quickly things have gone by for us. I mean, it doesn't feel like 4 years almost.
I know.
mean, it feels like it's gone by so quickly. And you look back, and then all of a sudden your kids are 18. You're like, what? You had no idea.
No.
Or you look back to a certain year. I do that all the time. I'll think, gosh, 2008. Good God, was that 11 years ago? It's hard to wrap your mind around that. So
It is. It's hard to believe.
yeah, time marches on and stops for no one. That's for sure.
Yes. So it was interesting. You brought up the thing about how you went into that one jewelry store and the lady had food on
She
her
clearly
shirt.
just had some kind of greasy food. Clearly. It was like, it doesn't do a lot for your credibility as you try and sell me a
So it was
multi-$1,000 stone.
I bring that up because it is Five Boys in a Business, and we do own a business, and so we're always trying to make ourselves better, in terms
Sure.
of the business and whatnot. And we're reading a book right now called Wolf on Wall Street. I'm reading with
The Way
Dr.
of the Wolf.
Duckwall.
The Way of the Wolf.
The Way of the Wolf.
Yeah, and it's by
The Way of the Wolf. There's
what
no
is the
Wall
guy's
Street in
name?
there, huh?
No, but what is the
Fuck, I
guy's
should've-
name? Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort,
The
yeah.
true Wolf of Wall Street, the guy that the Martin Scorsese movie, The Wolf of Wall Street, is based on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of truth. I mean, there is some artistic license with the movie, but that was a fairly accurate depiction of what his life was owning a brokerage firm, how he came to become a broker and then own his own firm and things like that.
Yeah, it was. So he goes through different.
It's a sales process.
Yeah, like in how people think and how
First
people
impressions.
form impressions of you. And yeah, that's one, that no one ever wants to talk about nowadays is, you judge a book by its cover, basically, and that you shouldn't do that. But that's just the way the mind works. That's the way the human mind works, is that you're forming opinions like within so many seconds and whatnot. And so just like there, it was a perfect example. You formed an opinion. The person could have been the nicest person on the planet, but your reptilian brain formed an opinion in
Right.
like 1.5 seconds that this person was not going to be trustworthy. And so just because of how they looked.
What's fascinating too is that people, like you said, in modern day society, they try and say those things, but I'm telling you, you can't undo that
No, you
kind of.
can't.
You can't undo those kinds of knee-jerk reactions. And while I do think you can get people back, I do think people's perceptions are always reality, at least in the short term.
Right.
If you perceive this, and that's at least for you, that's your truth. So, and then you have to then work to overcome that.
Right.
I mean, so you're already kind of somewhat behind the eight ball at that point to say my credibility is already at a -5 when it should be a +8. And then, so you're already somewhat behind. And I
Yeah.
think that's why it's so important in any business that you work to form a positive impression and a positive value add perception from the very beginning. Chick-fil-A does a great job of that. You
Oh, yeah.
never see people. My first impression of all their employees
Yeah.
that I've almost, there are exceptions, I get it, but they are very strictly adhere to a certain brand,
Right.
such that you have that value add perception from the very beginning. And
Well, and I think that's where a lot of, including us, I mean, it's a constant struggle to, one of our objectives is that the experience is the same, whether you come in at 7:30 in the morning or
Sure.
5:30 in the evening, or
Sure.
it's busy or it's slow, that the experience should be the same.
Right.
And then what is that experience that we're trying to create? And I think that Chick-fil-A has done that. They've
Right.
created that experience. Even if they're busy,
Right.
you still have
Right.
a good, pleasant experience. And that's the constant struggle. I mean, especially as people that are growing a business and, trying with certain objectives in mind, trying to keep all of that still happening at the same time.
Right.
I mean, it's a perpetual, you're constantly
Chase.
working. Yeah, you're constantly working to train your new people such that they buy into the mission and the vision of what
Right.
you're trying to accomplish. But then, getting them to perform and not keeping people that don't perform. And, I mean, it's just a perpetual, it's just constant,
Right.
I mean, and as it grows, creating, one thing you've talked about is continuing to create the microspheres, the microenvironments within the clinic such that, you can create that experience that is what the clinic was when it was just me
Sure.
here working,
Right.
and that's hard to do.
I think, what's interesting too that people lose sight of, and it's very, very easy to lose sight of this when you're super busy. Like, say, for instance, if you're at a retail establishment and there's a line of people and you're waiting a while and the person's up there going, there's nothing I can do, or, the person, the employee. And I think what's important to keep in mind is the client simply doesn't get, it's not their problem that you're not able to deliver what they expect. It's your problem. It's the service provider's problem.
Right.
And I think that's why I was trying to think about that and say, I don't care that Sally called in sick. It's not my problem. It's your job to fix this so that my perception of the experience is consistent with previous experiences, and that continues to build on that.
Yeah,
that
it's not the
positive value
customer's
add.
problem is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
is what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
not. So, I mean, I think that it's really easy to go, well, we couldn't do it because we were so busy, or it doesn't matter. You still have to fix it.
Right.
I mean, you still have to work to make sure that that process is in place and that they're satisfied in the end, because they're not going to bend for you. You have to bend for them,
Right.
For the customer. So I think that's what's so important. And what's fascinating is how I think often that's lost from a retail, just business consumer standpoint all the time. I go in places all the time. I'm like, why am I? You're 10 deep. What are you doing? Who's the manager on duty, and why aren't they up here on a register? That's what
Right.
I think. Because if I were a manager, that's what I would want.
Right.
Because I know that I've been in places like Best Buy, and they're not busy. They don't look to be busy, yet they have one person open a register, and there's 5 people in line. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, people don't want to wait, and what's always fascinating me about that is as that person stands in line, their mind starts to, for whatever reason, start to think about what they could be doing if they weren't in line, and then inevitably will go to, I could have got this on Amazon. Oh, by the way, I have my phone. Done. Out.
Right.
I mean, that's the problem with those kinds of things, and I don't think they do. I don't think retail does a good enough job. Some places do, of recognizing that and negating that percentage. Negating that perception that you can go somewhere else to get it, because that's in my opinion that's ultimately what will kill brick and mortar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because as you get, more and more alternatives, I just think that people are going to do what they have to do to save time, so they can engage in other things that they prefer to engage in. Just like going to the store, we do click list.
Right.
On the way home from St. Louis yesterday, and I thought, think about how much time on an annual basis this saves you.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
At least a
The
couple
number
hours a
of-
week.
Yeah.
So 100 plus hours a year that you could be doing, 2 full work weeks plus that you could be doing something else or nothing or whatever your preferred activity is.
Right.
And I think that's where people really have to get better, and retail establishments have to get better.
Well, and I think that for us, for our particular business, it's figuring out where those efficiencies can be gained, and
Oh, sure.
but yet keeping the experience still the same.
Yeah, I've always said,
So-
efficient but not rushed.
Right.
I mean, I think that some places will do things to try and compress appointment times, things like that. I think that's possible, but it could be problematic. I think, and every client, I think their perception of, how long it should take is different. But none of us like to wait. No one
No.
likes to wait. You go to the human doctor, and I can't stand waiting.
Right.
But it's always there. It's gotten better, I think, as you've had more consolidation within the medical industry, and they've recognized that you do have choices. You don't have to go here. You can go somewhere else. So they've done a much better job of You don't wait an hour to see a doctor. You and I, we've done that. I remember years ago going, I don't know why I made an appointment.
Right.
It's been 50 minutes since and I'm still in the waiting room.
Yeah. No. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think it has gotten better, but I mean, I think that they even struggle with the patient having time in a room with nothing happening.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things
but it's something you can do to differentiate yourself.
Right.
And I think that's where people, no matter what business you're in, I mean, that's one thing that you can do to be better than the next guy is to people, make sure that you value their time and people don't wait an inappropriate amount of time to receive the service or product or whatever.
Right.
So that's key. It's huge. And I think it's a gimme almost. I mean, it's something that you can do that's very simple to create a lot of value add with your client.
Yeah.
So
that just
very long answer. Sorry.
Well, no. I mean, I was just thinking about that when you had mentioned that about the lady with the shirt. That's all. I
had a guy years ago. I worked for Sam's Club. I started there in August of '91, and his name was Larry something, but he was the GM there. I'll never forget. If it got more than 3 people in line, he would watch it, and he would open up a register himself. He would say, "Who can we open up?" And if no one could, he always had a register. It was his drawer, and he would open it up and get people out of there. Because even back then, he knew that people didn't like to wait, and they have other choices. They don't have to go there. They can go somewhere else.
Right.
Even though they were the only game in town, the only wholesale club in town, and they destroyed. But even then, he knew that those little things cumulatively over time can make a big difference.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it goes to word of mouth, like now especially. I mean, people, would rather do a review rather than call and offer feedback.
Right.
But, I think that it is all about word of mouth and creating, that good experience so that people then, people would use Sam's Club. They would go back and use it. They'd tell their friend about it, So,
right.
It's constant feedback that's coming back, if you're creating those positive experiences.
Yeah.
Well,
So, yeah. But even then, during my time there, I quit when I graduated from college, middle 1995. Even then, probably 12 to 18 months before that, they had started to experience a bit of downward pressure. So, I mean, no businesses, even if you're the only game in town, no business is immune from those kinds of pressures. So, which actually kind of makes it fun because it makes you that constant chase to be better, that constant strive's the wrong word. That constant chase is the only word I can come up with.
Yeah.
That you're constantly looking for ways to do things better, add more value, to be more efficient, satisfy your clients.
Well, one of the things I always hear from our clients is, "Oh my gosh, you guys have so many doctors," or "There's another doctor," or "Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to." Somebody said something funny the other day when I was up front, and they said, "You're gonna have to get another door to put any more names on that door," or something. I don't know, it was something like that, and we were laughing about it. But I think that there's only so many appointments that I myself can see, and so once we recognized that was the case, then creating an environment where we have advanced veterinarians with advanced skill sets, I guess is the right way to say it, such that nobody, because one of our mottos is, you shouldn't have to wait to be seen. You should be able to get in.
Sure.
If it's important to you, or you feel like the problem is pressing and you're not comfortable, and you're like, I need to come over today, then you should be able to come over today. But there's only
so many slots,
kind of a thing. And so then, basically what we did was track down and recruit people that have advanced skill sets that can further the mission and the vision of the clinic, but then offer the best care.
Right.
Because I always think of it as because when I get to know people, I know them personally on a personal level, I feel like, which is just how I practice veterinary medicine. But I wouldn't, if they couldn't see me because maybe I'm on vacation,
right,
like I'm supposed to be.
Maybe you're in Florida. Maybe you're not.
I would want them because I know them. I would want them to see somebody that I would want to see. Like, what I mean? And so that's what we've created is veterinarians that have those types of skill sets, that type of personality, that type of, kind mental capacity to solve problems and to be engaged and to be present in the room, when the client's there.
Right.
Tina said, good customer service and first impressions are everything.
There you go.
Yes, they are,
would
Tina.
know. Yes.
Gosh.
And so I think that it's been interesting getting people to understand that component of the practice, because the practice is going to grow. You always say that saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. Well,
There ain't no third direction.
There's no third direction.
It's a Tommy Boy quote.
Okay,
Big Tom.
How do you keep growing but yet keep everything the way? Because that's what people like about the practice.
I think people talk about that. They say, how do you scale without feeling big?
Right.
And I think that's where I think you have to create processes. I mean, what's the end result of anything, whether it be a product or a service in furtherance of a product delivery, whatever that might be? And it's just your processes. It's the same reason why we talk about that in Denver. Sean, what's his name? McVeigh talked about that. It's about your processes. It's the same thing that lets me go to a Starbucks in Denver, Colorado, and get the same coffee that I would have gotten in Chicago, Illinois. Right. Same thing. Right. I mean, two different people, two different prices maybe, but it's the same end result. I'm still satisfied with the coffee that I get. Right. And I think that's where people struggle, is they get big, but then they don't pay attention, in my opinion, enough to the processes. Right. What if I went in Denver, Colorado, I got a cup of coffee, got to Chicago, and it was horrific? And I did that all the time. I was like, your coffee, I get it at Starbucks, but your coffee here in Chicago is horrible. Right. Because the processes aren't right. Right. Something's off. And I think that's where people can scale, but yet maintain that small feel. Right. Too many places do it.
No, I agree. I think that just veterinary clinics in general are bad at it.
Right. Look at like Cracker Barrel. I know you love yourself some Barrel.
I hate Cracker Barrel.
But they do a wonderful job of maintaining that ambiance, that experience, no matter where you go. Now, some people don't appreciate the hometown cooking. Yeah, they goes into barrel food.
They might maintain the ambiance, but it not be the best ambiance.
Right? There you go, Harrison. That's it.
So, but they do a great job of that. I mean, I can't remember going to a Barrel.
I do like going to Cracker Barrel because I can find me some Tennessee stuff when I'm there. Like if I go to the Cracker Barrel in Tennessee, then I can find Tennessee related gear or things.
Hey, I will say, I will go on record and say that they have the worst syrup I've ever
What are you talking about? What kind of syrup do you like? I like the cheap stuff.
No, I like thick, sugary syrup.
It's sugary, all right. It's not thick.
When I get the syrup from there, it's liquidy and it's like a drink, and I hate that. Cracker Barrel, if you're listening, please fix it.
He's going to come into Cracker Barrel and he's going to pull out Mrs. Butterworth and set it on the table.
Can I get some more syrup? No, I got my own, thanks.
Oh, gosh.
They do a great job of no matter where you go, you still have that hometown.
You know what to expect.
Small town. Yes.
Basically is what you're saying.
Your expectation is met.
Right. And then
even
veterinary medicine,
I think
that they are notorious for not doing that. And that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, but part of that, though, I think is because of decentralization of the particular industry. It's a lot like dentists.
No, I think the veterinarian thinks that he's got to do everything in this under the sun. So they're practicing medicine and doing all these things, maybe doing your job and doing Amanda's job and doing Harrison's job, and then they're not good at anything, and I think they don't take enough time to work they're working in the business all the time. They don't take time to work out and work on the business.
Think about this, though. Let's go back to the Cracker Barrel example, that model. When you have somebody who's say a hostess, for instance, she's not cooking food. She's hostessing. Right. Or it could be a dude. I mean, don't want to be inclusive here. It could be anybody doing it. If your server there, she's serving food. She's not cooking it. And I think that's where people run into trouble as they get outside of their lane. They're trying to cook the food and seat people and take payment and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Whereas like you need to do this one thing. If you could tell, and this isn't necessarily just applies to veterinarians, but you can only wear so many hats and be good at it. So find the hat you want to wear and then wear it proudly and do it well, but farm out and delegate everything else.
But I think for us, we're in a transitionary time period where we're growing, and so then therefore, like my role as, yes, I'm a veterinarian, but then also I'm trying to guide this monstrosity a certain direction, and it requires time outside of practicing veterinary medicine.
Sure.
And I think that's sometimes hard maybe for clients to understand, or whoever to understand that you need to be able to have time to guide it and work on it. And
Sure.
I think that if everybody did, if like other practices did that, I think you would see more of a standard of care or a standard experience that would happen.
Right.
Anyway, that's our objective.
I don't think though, and I can't speak to the corporate model. Some of the larger players in the veterinary sphere, whether or not they've done that. My perception is they probably haven't done it to the extent that a larger company has, like say an IBM or that's my perception. I could be way off base on that. I do, which actually does present an opening for another player to come in and offer that consistency. Outside of just the brand.
Right. I think people like VCA and Banfield, I mean, I think they've tried to do it. I think they have.
Sure.
And they've created it. It's just all crappy. So
okay.
I mean, they have. They've just created, not like VCA Advanced Specialty Care. I mean, like not like their specialty practice. Like that's, those guys, running that, they're doing a good job. They practice good medicine. I'm talking about your regular clinic, small clinic that is owned by VCA. They are subpar, because they're not, they didn't come in. It's not like Chick-fil-A where they came in and they create these amazing experiences and you can duplicate them across the board, across the country.
I wonder though if that's more due to you just want the ROI. It's not really about the process. I'm sure that's what it's about. I mean, I'm sure, because I've heard people say that the national average is 8% growth year over year. And I look at that sometimes and I think, okay, how much money is being left on the table because the processes aren't there? I mean, it's just, my perception is this kind of just churn it out. For every client you lose, you hope you have two that come in the door and replace it. So, yeah, that's my perception. I could be way off. I don't know. But I do think, I'm a big Chick-fil-A fanboy, but I look at the environment in which they operate, which is horribly competitive. I mean, the margins aren't great a lot of times, so it's all volume. So you look at that and you go, how on earth are you one of the more profitable places?
Oh, they are the most profitable place. I think they're the top one, and they're closed on Sundays.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at that.
They've got one less day to do business.
Yeah. So I look at that and I think they've identified specifically to a surgical level how they want to compete, and they're competing against people that are open longer, have a cheaper product. The product's not as good, probably a bit of a wider product offering, and they still destroy. And how is that? And I think it's because of that customer service experience,
right?
And the fact that they meet people's expectations all the time. I've never seen, we have a Chick-fil-A here in Carmel. I look at that as it's been open, and I think, I don't know how they're not printing money over there, because, I mean, they're never not busy. It's never not busy.
No, I know. They're always, it doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't even go over there around noon.
No.
Forget it. In fact, it's so bad. They're next to a Chili's and something else, and the two places next to them have put signs up that say, please do not block our parking lot, because the drive-thru is backed up that far.
Yeah, but even then, they have created a system for the drive-thru when it's that excessive that it's not bad.
Right.
People are, because you know why you wait in that line? Because you're really not waiting that long. They've created an entire work routine. I mean, it's fascinating.
Okay, speaking of the polar opposite of that, the Starbucks here at Hazeldale and Carmel, you got to work on this drive-through thing. Something's very wrong. It's gotten way worse.
That's because of the online ordering or the mobile ordering, whatever it is. You've got people trying to make mobile orders, and you have people trying to.
And I even talked to somebody.
It's a zoo.
Yeah, I used to talk to somebody there. I've talked to people that work there, and even I've suggested, I was like, you guys need a completely separate window, a completely separate barista for that function. And they're like, yeah, we do. You need something, because this is just me talking. If I'm in the drive-thru line, I'm ready to give you my money. If I'm through the mobile, I may come in, I may not. Who knows? Right. I put the order in, but so that's where it'd be interesting to see what they do. But I do know, I've noticed that drive-thru line, for whatever reason, is considerably slower than it used to be.
And it didn't used to be that way,
though.
Nope. Did not used to be that way.
So anyway.
Okay, so what else do we have? Enough business talk. What else do we have going on this week? We had Halloween. That went well.
Halloween went really well.
It was perfect because it was cold and windy, and there was not a lot of candy brought home. It was considered a success.
It was, well, Calvin went out. It was freezing. It was like spitting snow, probably in the 40s, very windy, and he put on a morph suit and had a jacket and a stocking hat, and that was it. And he didn't.
He froze.
He froze dead. We found him about half an hour later, and we said, "You want to go home?" He goes, "I want to go home."
Yeah,
So,
he was totally cold, but he got just a perfect amount of candy.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, not a ton. And there weren't a lot of kids out anyway.
Yep.
Which is kind of good.
And we had Trevor's birthday, so we got to do that.
Yeah, Trevor's birthday was good. He got or AirPods.
AirPods, yeah.
Which he's liking a lot. So yeah,
It was a good week. It was a busy week. We had
your birthday
my
was
birthday,
good.
Trevor's birthday, Halloween, engagement, and that was
It's been a very busy. I think
fall.
probably very busy October.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's been good. Can't complain. A lot of blessings to go around. So.
well, we will. Let's see here. We've got coming up next week. Let's see here. We're going to be rolling into Thanksgiving, which is one of my favorite holidays.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving.
we're gonna smoke a turkey.
Yep.
In our Traeger grill.
Traegerizing it.
We're gonna probably do a trial run or two to make sure we get it
And
right.
we'll do probably enough trial runs that we'll not want to make turkey on
I
Thanksgiving.
know. Kids are like, "What are we having, Dad?" No turkey. Come on, Dad. No turkey.
So
But you can't make large turkeys though. You can't really make a big one in there.
no, you cannot. I mean, big enough. I think you can make a 20-pound turkey in it.
What's your favorite turkey? Is it baked or fried or what?
If you bake it the right way, I think it's really good because you can put stuffing in it. If you fry it, though, it's really good because it's really juicy.
Right.
This is the first year we're going to Traegerize it, and we'll see what
Let me give a shout out. There's a guy, I haven't listened to him in a while. I used to listen to his podcast all the time. Jack Spirko's The Survival Podcast. He had a guy on there named Chef Keith Snow, and he had a Thanksgiving special. And I just, for whatever reason, it never occurred to me to think this way in terms of cooking a turkey. And he said, you don't want to cook it to where the thing pops out of the breast. Mm-hmm. He said, at that point, you're going to have one dry turkey. It's going to taste like you're eating dust. He said, so get it to about a 150, 155 max, and then take it out because then you still have a juicy turkey. And we had something recently. I was like, this is fantastic. Maybe it was wings. We had some chicken that we cooked. And I thought, this is how turkey should taste. It shouldn't taste dry.
Right.
And because it used to be your
on
grandmother.
the Traeger, though, I don't think it's dry on the Traeger at all.
No.
Like when we've cooked the chicken, like the whole the half chickens or whatever,
Yeah.
those are always fantastic.
So I'm looking forward to this because, I mean, generally, we don't ever overcook, I don't think, our birds.
Right.
But having super dry turkey is not fun. You better hope you have some gravy. Yeah. Remember the scene from Christmas Vacation, which is it's like a carcass.
And the smoke comes up after it. That's one of my favorite movies. Okay, well, I think we probably should wrap it up. We've been in about 50 minutes.
So this is one of our favorite times of the year, turkey season, Hallmark movie season.
Hallmark
I must
movies.
say,
What?
I was in St. Louis in a hotel room for a few hours, and I happened to come across the Hallmark channel. The movies are on.
Richie is excited. He's a Hallmark fan. Who would have known?
Harrison's over there shaking his head. Hey, those are good movies.
Yeah. So it won't be a dry eye in the house.
No, dry in the house.
Okay, well, everybody, we will catch you guys next time
Yep.
on Five Boys in a Business. It is getting cooler, Harrison. And so we
It is getting cooler, and we always want to make sure that your brain activity, if you get too cold, your brain activity shuts down. You don't want to have an accident when you're driving, so make sure that you keep that noggin warm.
You get some of these here stocking hats. All you Southern people watching this, I get it. It's a toboggan. That's what we call it down there. It's not a toboggan. Toboggan's a sled. You go on a sled.
Okay, real quick, I just moved to South Bend, Indiana, and asked a buddy that I used to room
It is
with. I
not
said, what do you call
toboggan.
that thing you put on your head? He goes, you mean a toboggan? I was like, yes, I'm not crazy.
It is a stocking hat.
They call it toboggan down there.
That's a sled.
Just like you guys call it pop and all that stuff up here, pop and soda.
is.
Down there, it's a Coke. You say, what kind of Coke do you have? Sprite, Fanta.
I
It's
guess
true.
Pop or soda.
Pop, no.
I think so. And this is stocking hat.
This is wicked cool.
Okay, so check out the merch store at ASVC merch at gmail.com. No, ASVC merch at ASVC merch.
Come on, Dr. King.
at ASVCmerch.com.
Use discount code Get It Quick.
Get it quick.
Get It Quick 2019.
So let us know. We will ship some your way.
And if there's anything you'd like for us to discuss or otherwise go over on the podcast, let us know.
And we'll keep talking about the business, our growing pains, our successes.
the 5 gentlemen that
and the 5
make
men
up
that
and
motivate
then
us to keep working hard.
keep cranking.
And
That's it.
don't forget, check us out on all the podcast links.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're
This is
out.
5 boys in the business.
5 boys in business.
We're
and
out.
We'll see you next time.